What's going on, good people? Rich here.
School in the building.
The lovely. Go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead.
Say Ray P here. What's going on, y'all?
I was hype. I was just hyped to bring you in.
I should have let you do it. I should have let you do it.
Back. If you can't tell, we geeked. Culture Garden is back at 100%. Shout out to everybody that was with us while we were doing Martin for the past 6 weeks. That was a fun project that me and School enjoyed. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Y'all held it down.
Appreciate you.
Y'all held it down.
You held us down too. I know we mentioned in the finale, like, man, we know Ray like itching like to talk about these films. So I can't tell you enough how like happy we are to have you back and
nice
to get back into it. So what have you been up to the past 6 weeks? How have you been spending your time?
Man, traveling for work. I was like in Chicago for a week. I was in New York for a week.
Yeah, I saw you in Harlem B.
I was about to say.
Money,
random conferences and all of that shit. So trying to get some bearings, get my mind right, get my life right. And now I'm back. Zen. Now I'm back together.
You are back.
I'm back.
Back,
baby.
Back in your zen, back in the Culture Garden. Like we definitely looking forward to what we got coming up for these next weeks. Absolutely. So just want to start shouting out you, and also want to shout out our listeners, people who are listening, people who are watching. As this continues to grow, this community grows. We definitely appreciate y'all. Y'all are dope, man. Like the messages, the reviews, all of that. Like we can't tell you how much you mean to us. We want to have those conversations with y'all too. So continue to DM us, hit us up. Our Instagram is the Culture Garden Podcast.
Yes.
So at the Culture Garden Podcast, you will find all of our individual handles on Twitter and IG and the whole nine. So just don't hesitate to reach out, whether it's something we said on an episode, whether you have a suggestion for us, pieces of information, whatever the case may be. We'll talk film all day.
Yep.
And that's just kind of what it is. So before we actually get into the episode, I do want to give some shout outs to a few people in particular that, hit us up often on social media and just have good conversations.
Yes.
The first one is, her name's Christina.
Hey, Christina.
Christina, what's happening?
So her IG name is Christina.eic.
Okay.
And I really want to give her a shout out because it's rare that somebody teaches me something about a film that I didn't know.
That's a fact.
And she did that with ATL.
Okay.
So what she got us hip to the fact that the writer for the film, her name's Tina Gordon Chisholm. She wrote the script. She actually wrote the script for Drumline. We'll save that story because there's an interest in how Drumline was supposed to go versus how it ended up. We'll save that when we actually cover that movie.
Okay.
But she wrote ATL and her version was altered. The ATL we get in the movie is not the ATL she wrote. And she said, hey, a director is supposed to do that. That's their thing. But this is ATL is what made her say, I want to get into directing so my vision can be carried out. So ATL originally was supposed to be about Erin and her family, the Garnetts, pretty much. Upper class Black family. And obviously, like you said, ATL didn't go that route. So she ended up directing Peoples, which is about an upper class Black family.
Okay.
So her ATL vision is kind of portrayed in Peoples. So it was really supposed to focus around the Garnetts, like I said.
Shout out to David Allen Greer.
So shout out to Christina for that nugget of information. Michaela Roberts, her K_Rob88 on Instagram. She has a podcast as well.
What's up, K-Rob?
Kicking it with K-Rob. She does music breakdowns, like song breakdowns.
Okay.
So it's real dope. She has it on Instagram Live. Yeah. She follows us on the Culture Garden page. So she's very active with us. Tyler, I'm not sure Tyler's last name. Her Instagram handle is goddess_jet. She wrote a very, very nice and warming review. Her favorite movie is Love and Basketball. And she wasn't hip to our show when I think she's friends with Kayla. Stumbled into it. And shout out to Kayla also because she's a Saints fan. Shout out to the Bengals for being the Saints. But no, Tyler wrote a great review about our Love and Basketball episode and just our passion for the film and bringing that to life so people who love films like that can have a space to really talk about them and hear other people sing their praises as well. So we definitely appreciate that.
What's up, Tyler?
Yeah,
Thank you. We appreciate you so much.
Absolutely.
Nate, I've already shouted out Nate before on the Martin episode, but you know, he's like, that's my dog, man. Nate, he's a coach. He used to be a receiver at University of Cincinnati. He's a wide receiver coach at Moeller High School here in Cincinnati.
Okay.
One of the top teams in the state. They're nationally ranked. They're about to go on a playoff run. So good luck to them.
Absolutely.
And shout out to Mario too, man. Somebody me and School know Mario personally. But Mario, he just sings our praises. And he really is not because we know him. And that's what I love. Like, I know that for a fact it's not because he knows. He really loves like the Culture Garden and what we do. And very high praise, man. I think he said, like, I can't even remember, man. I just don't, because it's like, man, it's almost a little bit embarrassing. Like, yo, like, I appreciate it, but yo, that's a lot of high praise. But Tunnel Vision, it's his podcast. He does a sports podcast.
Okay.
Come out as well. My dog Nate always gives us good feedback. I got on my art by Nate Austin.
Very
absolutely. I seen that.
Merch right now.
Have so many portraits.
Yeah, so
man, he does his thing. So
So just continue to, like I said, hit us up. We appreciate y'all. We'll definitely shout y'all out because this is a community. I do want to announce something real quick. This is something that we kind of came up with. So Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever is coming out in a couple weeks.
Yes.
And we decided at the Culture Garden we're going to have a ticket giveaway. So we are going to give out 2 tickets to the film. In order to qualify, you have to be following us on Instagram. You have to make sure you leave a review. So on Apple Podcasts, go ahead and write us a review and then just shoot us a message on Instagram letting us know that you did it. So we have your name and things like that. So when we, pick names out of the hat and things like that, we'll have 2 tickets for you, whatever date you want to see it, we'll pay for them so you guys can go out and enjoy that film.
Yes.
So just something to get a little bit more active into
community.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. For y'all, just for ride with us for as long as we have.
Yes, y'all show the love, we're gonna show it back.
That's it. That's it. And what better way?
Yes.
Yeah. So today's episode, we're covering dead presidents, I'm sure, as you can see by the title. But one last thing before we get into it. I want to circle back to the last episode we did as a trio, which was a thin line between love and hate. So if you guys listen to that episode, one of the things that we discussed, and I know School was real big on it, is that Martin shouldn't have been
wearing so many hats.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been wearing so many hats. Like he should have probably been T, the character of T.
Yes.
So he thinks that Martin might have been better off as a character of T. And obviously my first thought was like, well, who would have played Darnell?
Yeah.
And we started thinking of some names. And Rachel, I want to see what you think about this.
Okay.
What do you think about Mekhi Phifer in 1996 as Darnell?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the first name, of course, was Lorenz Tate. Ironically, we're talking about this. And then it was like, that's too But Mekhi Phifer, I think, gives you that edge of being like the womanizer, but also being charming enough to where he could pull all of that off. And remember in 95, all he really had was, or 96, all he really had was clockers. This is before Soul Food. Like he wasn't Mekhi Phifer yet.
Yeah.
I think that he could have pulled that off. What you think?
So maybe that's probably why, it's because he wasn't Mekhi Phifer yet. We still needed another big name draw other than Lynn Whitfield.
Yeah, that's true. And I think Martin being the side, I think would have been a little bit more on point. But that's just that was
Martin.
My thought.
Martin would have definitely given you that. And I feel obviously it was a lot for him because he hasn't done it since, like wearing so many hats. So I think that was a stressful situation for him. And if he would have just been able to be that comedy dude, be what Bobby Brown was supposed to be. But anyway, like if he would have been able to do that, and he said, I also brought in maybe Jamie Foxx, 96, Jamie Foxx. He definitely already had that connection with Bentley Kyle Evans. Jamie can act his ass off. So we know he could have brought that comedy, that bro, that man.
You also said Morris Chestnut, which I said Morris was too. Yeah, I couldn't see him as the womanizer.
I'm not gonna do Morris Chestnut. I might give you Jamie over Mekhi just because of where they were in their careers in 90s.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. That's fair. I like Jamie. I like Jamie. We probably did a little song and everything.
Yeah.
He would have been fooling in there. Last one, I would just want to know your thoughts. Shamar Moore?
No.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect. All right, just wanted to cover that real quick. Yes. Like I said, it's just been a minute since we talked to you about just some random movie stuff.
Yes.
But let's get into Dead Presidents.
Let's do it.
So the day this is releasing, which is going to be October 20th, it will be 2 weeks past the 27th anniversary of this film, which is wild to think about. It was released October 6, 1995. Had a budget of $10 million and made $24.1 million worldwide, which is really just US and Canada. It didn't get an international release. Directed by the Hughes brothers, Albert and Alan Hughes, the twins. Ironically, they're anti-gun advocates. Like they do a lot of anti-gun like commercials they have in the past, which I think is funny just based off their films. They're very violent. Yep. Alan typically, one thing about the twins, Alan typically works with the actors while Albert does the technical side of things.
Okay.
So I always wonder how, like even the Coen brothers, we just did No Country for Old Men, like how these duo directors work. So they have their roles outlined. And it was written by the Hughes brothers as well as Michael Henry Brown. And Dead Presidents is based partly on real life experiences of Haywood T. Kirkland, whose true story was detailed in the book Bloods, an oral history of the Vietnam War by Black veterans, written by Wallace Terry. Pretty much 20 accounts or 20 veterans who were in Vietnam. He got the oral history of kind of their experiences. So that book released, it became a bestseller, and then we started getting films like this, and it was a while until we got The Five Bloods, which came out in 2020. In the 80s, I mean, Vietnam movies were just kind of a thing, and they kind of phased out in the 90s. I think Platoon won Best Picture in 1986, and that's a Vietnam movie. So we get the rise of it, but I don't think I'd ever seen
Deer Hunter. Deer Hunter is the classic one.
Yeah,
like, it's bigger than Platoon.
I don't know if I've seen one about the Black experience like Dead Presidents in this sense.
No. I don't think there is one.
Yeah. How about you, Rachel? Have you seen?
I have not. I've not even seen the other two movies that you all discussed. I have seen Five Bloods, just because.
Okay, then I'm gonna circle back to that. I'm gonna circle back to that here in a second. But in the book, like Haywood Kirkland, I mean, they talk about he served time in prison for committing robbery and face paint. And there's more to the story, and there's more to all of that. So we won't get into all of it right now. But it is currently streaming on Roku TV, or you can rent it off like Vudu, Amazon Prime, whatever the case may be, if you want to check out Dead Presidents. Cast. Lorenz Tate as Anthony Curtis. We got Keith David as Kirby, which this is the fourth movie we've done with Keith David.
Keith David, man.
Yeah. Legend.
I think he's
Garden Royal.
Yeah, I think he's leading the category as far as films we covered. He was in Barbershop, Head of State, ATL, and of course this film. Chris Tucker is Skip, which let me ask y'all this real quick.
Okay.
So Friday came out April of 95. This movie came out October 95. Famously, Friday only took 20 days to film. Dead Presidents started filming in late, like October 94, and that thing ended around the spring. Did you get a lot of Smokey as Skip? Like, did you guys pick up on that, or am I tripping?
I did. It was one of the first things I wrote down. But also Chris Tucker or Skip is my scene stealer.
Okay.
Maybe in part because of the familiarity of Smokey, but I just think that he was spot on. Like he killed that shit.
Every single scene from the opening of the film to every time he was on, and he brought this is a heavy film.
Yes,
he brought a necessary comic relief, and he wasn't trying to be funny. Everybody knows a nigga like Skip.
Yeah,
just a nigga, like, you know what I'm saying, nigga from around the way, like just trying to take it day by day.
That's
right.
So yeah, we had Freddie Rodriguez as Jose or Joe, Rose Jackson as Juanita Benson. Is it in Bush, right? In Bush, right? Bush?
Sure.
Okay, then. Yeah. She's famously known for a role in Blade, but she played Delilah Benson. Rachel's favorite, Bokeem Woodbine, is Cleon. Clifton Powell, Cuddy.
The reason why this podcast exists, man.
People like Clifton Powell, the reason this podcast exists. You know what I realized? Watching this film? Clifton Powell could have played Big Red.
Yeah.
He could have played Big Red in 5 Heartbeats.
In the 5 Heartbeats? Absolutely.
Never thought of anybody playing Big Red other than man, I can't even remember my man's name right now. Shame on me. But yeah, I think Clifton Powell could have definitely played Big Red.
Mm-hmm.
We had Terrence Howard as Cowboy, man.
And
also appearances by Jennifer Lewis, Michael Imperioli, Elizabeth Rodriguez, Isaiah Washington, and Martin Sheen. I mean, this film was packed.
Yeah.
And I think the cast is what kept this film afloat. And we'll get into it a little bit more. So as we always like to open these episodes or these movies with, Rachel, classic or not?
No.
Okay.
It's good. I don't really want to call it a classic. It's not something that I will watch again voluntarily, and definitely not for $3.99. Oh, Prime.
Nice.
I don't want to say it's not good, but it's a lot.
Okay.
School, before we got started, you said it's all over the place. 100%. But again, star-studded cast. Everybody was acting well.
Yes.
It's just some things wasn't curling all the way over for me throughout the movie. But
understood.
Yeah. What about you, School?
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you 110%. Nah, from me. No thanks. But not a no thanks, and I won't watch it again. It's not that great acting. But as I said, like, it's all over the place. In a lot of the reviews, it's a lot of people saying they don't know what this movie is. Like, and I agree. Like, I just don't know what this movie's supposed to be. It's like
several movies in one.
Yes, it's like they wrote that robbery thing in at the last second. Like, let's do robbery. Yeah, that's it. Like,
you know what's funny? Funny? So anybody who's listened to us in the past and knows, School and myself have like the 30-minute rule. Any type of movie, if somebody's trying to get us hip to a new movie, we'll always give it at least 30 minutes. And when I paused it at the 30-minute mark, the movie that it was at 30 minutes, just to be exact, is when he's actually going to Vietnam. It's literally the scene where he's leaving Juanita's house, running through the yards, and then it shifts into Vietnam. So that's 30 minutes. And I would have never have guessed that the movie was headed in the direction it was based off the first 30 minutes.
Come on.
That goes right into what you were saying, because even at the beginning, we see them in the face paint, but we don't know it's a bank robbery. We just see some niggas in the face paint. And like, if you just never seen the trailer, don't know anything about it, you don't know where this movie's headed.
Nah, not at all.
I'm gonna say no to classic. And listen, I think we live in an age now where everything's a classic and everybody's a legend and stuff. But I really want to preserve that space for the stuff that really is classic.
Yeah.
And I know people appreciate Dead Presidents. But on the flip side of it, I've never had a random conversation about Dead Presidents.
No.
I've never had anybody just run up to me and say, "Hey, let's talk about this movie." Like,
great movie poster.
Iconic movie poster. And it's got some great moments, but it's what I affectionately refer to as a YouTube movie. They're just scenes that I will go to YouTube and see and watch. But as a movie, I don't know if I want to sit down and watch and spend 2 hours watching Dead President.
Yeah.
Like I said, part of that is because it's heavy. And I will say this about the film. It's the least I've watched out of all the films that we've covered on this podcast. I did enjoy it a lot more than the first time. The first time I saw this movie, I didn't like it at all. And I'm like, dang, you know what? I appreciate this a little bit more just for the simple fact that I don't think I was mature enough in the early 2000s to understand what this film was about.
Absolutely.
But now that I am, I'm like, all right, it's cool. But I struggled trying to find the words to describe my feelings about this film. And thankfully, acclaimed film critic Roger Ebert had the words. So I actually found a quote from his review of this film in 95. And he was talking about, in discussions about the Hughes brothers, said they have a sure sense of the camera, of the actors, of the life within the scene, but they are not as sure when it comes to the story and the meaning. And here's a film that feels incomplete, as if its last step is into thin air. Scene by scene, you feel its skill, but you leave the theater wondering about the meaning of it all.
Yeah.
And that's spot on as to how
that's it.
Like, what was, I get it, but what? Like, the ending is what? Like, what's the moral to the story? Like,
is it just supposed to highlight the plight of the Black Marine or service person in general, I wrote that down,
Yeah.
We know that the military services, I don't want to say prey on, but advertise a lot, low income, people who essentially need a way out, and college juxtaposed against being drafted and going to the military, like it was one or the other. And so we see that, we see the racism, I guess. Also, while they're in Vietnam with Dugan, of course he's from Ohio.
Yes, of course he is.
Of course.
Of course it's Crazy Food is from Ohio. We see him pull rank on Bokeem's character
Cleon. Yeah.
But I don't know, I was appreciative of them showing Dap, and if you've studied a little bit of history or even seen the Instagram memes, like, where they confirmed that Dap did come from Black military personnel, I guess.
Yes.
Dignity and pride,
Yes.
I like that aspect. I was trying to decide if I could compare it to a Saving Private Ryan or Aloha, movies of that sort that are sort of a love story / a war story / something else, but I don't know. It just wasn't.
But you can't even.
It wasn't flowing.
They don't even complete the love story. That like this movie was all over the place. Like it just
maybe look at me giving them some grace.
Yeah, like
the love story was that shit is fucked up, and that people are crazy.
Yeah,
I wrote down that Anthony, he was slow, I thought, at the beginning. Like, he was very aloof. I'm gonna call somebody slow. I'm sorry, Lord. He was like aloof. He reminded me of his character in The Inkwell. Like,
okay, I can definitely see that.
Right?
I can definitely see that.
Okay, I'm with you there.
So, go ahead, School.
But I was gonna say, in the words of Ray P, baby, when he came home, when he turned up, that he was different, bro. Like he
was different. And I understand that war changes you. War changes people. War is brutal. You watching people die. You killed one of your combat mates, whether he asked him to or not, that fucks with you. We hear the stories all the time about people coming back from war, can't get a job, they are alcoholics, on drugs. Skip was fucked up. He was already on drugs before he went, got over there, got to smoking that pure heroin, the injectables, and got whatever in his blood fucking around over there, and then you come back to what?
And I think the film does a great job of that. If that's the story that they were trying to tell, I wish they honed in on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just kind of, we get that it's hard for Black vets coming back, especially the idea of I literally gave it all for this country.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back and I'm still a nigga. Like I still can't find no work. Like I still am treated. And we have to think about the historical context of the Vietnam War was strongly like people were against that here in the States.
Yes.
Like so
Black people, white people, all people.
Everybody was against the war. I mean, famous people, the whole nine. So nobody really respected it. In the ending scene, Martin Sheen's character as a judge, I was a Marine in World War II. A real war, might I add.
War, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they just looked down upon it. So I couldn't imagine, like, with us getting the visual of what they went through over there in the bushes, as they call it. I'm not doing all that and y'all just treat me like I'm shit when I get back. Like, nah, bro, like I need something. But it just goes to show that there's a whole life that you left behind that didn't stop.
That didn't stop.
It didn't stop and it keeps going. And I think when you cover a historical topic like this, and this is to the Hughes brothers, you can't just leave it to the entertainment value. Like we don't, it was entertaining in some scenes, but there has to be an overall message and a theme. And like I said, if it's about the Black soldiers coming back and the struggles that we had, that's still generational trauma. Rachel, you hit it on the head. You know, you're watching people die all the time. You're seeing, you're killing your comrades. You are I think in the scene with Jennifer Lewis, when he first got home and they're at the table,
man, you all right?
Larenz Tate did a great job of that. Everybody did of just that interaction of like, I just saw some things and did some things that changed me forever. Like, I couldn't even look my own mama in the eye.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not on drugs, but damn, like I kind of need to just to mask this pain that I've been
going. Yeah, I wrote in my favorite quotes: "No bad habits, ma, except a little killing."
It's a little killing.
Country, of course. Like, man, that scene was dope.
Yeah,
but, you know, we're gonna get into it.
Yeah, so I mean, war is a real thing. Just the historical context of it. Like, so we're we're all born in the 80s, but I can imagine the like, hey, you might get drafted, my niggas.
Yeah, and that's
like, get ready. Like, what? Drafted where?
Yeah.
Who? The Bengals?
Yeah. That's the thing too. That's just different. That era of war, and like you said, you can get drafted. Like,
yeah, you can really get drafted. Even though I didn't believe Skip would ever go to college, like he just didn't seem like the college type. Yeah. That was a great plan, but it made sense that he flunked out. He just didn't seem like he was about it.
Maybe.
So yeah, I don't know. But let me ask y'all this.
Okay.
I full transparency, I didn't see the Five Bloods. It came out, I think, June 2020, and Chadwick passed in August, and it was just a lot. And I never circled back. School, I remember you telling me like maybe last year, early this year, you watched it and things like that. How do y'all compare this? Or are they two different films?
Yeah, they two different films for sure. They're just, I feel like this hones in a little bit better on just that Vietnam side of it, like war.
This the Dead Presidents?
The five Bloods,
okay, then.
I'm sorry, yes.
Nigga, we were only in Vietnam for maybe 20, 25 minutes in Dead Presidents. It felt like a lot
and
longer.
It was his second tour.
Yeah, that was a second tour.
Right.
Like, that wasn't even his first tour. That was a second tour. So, and they man, listen, Larenz did a good job.
Ironically, he did a great job. Ironically, watching this film, I'm like, I wonder what Spike Lee would have done with this.
There's moments that I thought
there's moments
Spike Lee was involved. That scene where he first comes back and he's in the pool hall and he's like sliding. You know, that's a trademark.
Yeah, it's trademark Spike.
Yeah.
Like that slide in and like, oh man. So
yeah, Rachel, what were you gonna say?
Very interesting. I agree with you that they are two very different films. I think the Five Bloods, while there was the Vietnam component, it really honed in on their relationships with each other, and then all these other instances and other things that happen that sort of jumpstart the rise and fall in action, you know. So very different. I actually like the Five Bloods better.
I say I liked it.
Okay.
Isaiah
Washington is in both. I've loved him, even though he is nuts now.
Savon, it was good seeing him. Like, hey, Savon and Darius.
There you go.
But with all that being said, even though we just went through all of that, I still think compared to my first watch and how I felt about it first watching, I think it's a little bit underrated for what it can give you.
Okay.
But I'm like I said, I'm just taking that from what I was not looking forward to this rewatch. And then I watched it and I'm like, damn, like it was much better than I thought. But once you watch it the second time, it's not made to be watched back to back.
No.
Because that's when you can really start picking away. Like if it's been years since I watched The Presidents. But you can start picking away at it once you start digging into it more and more. I mean, any film for that matter, but like School said, it's all over the place. So I know you said you had questions for us. And I'm curious to know what you got.
So the one question I really had is, if you're Anthony, would you respect Cuddy?
Can we save that?
Okay, yeah.
Can we say that? I want to talk about Cuddy. I want to spend some time on Cuddy because that's a very interesting question. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Let's get into best scenes. Let's just roll into some categories. Best scenes so we can have these conversations. Ray, let's start with you. What you got?
I'm gonna take Cleon chopping that head off of the Vietnamese soldier. That whole scene, all of that. Because why are you walking around with this?
Yeah.
I believe that you are crazy.
Muddy.
And off. And I know that he took it as a souvenir because Dugan took the real valuable thing. But I do think it's interesting. Cleon said, "This is our good luck." And as soon as he buried that shit, it went left.
Your boy got found with his guts spit open and a dick in his mouth.
And a dick in the mouth. Are you kidding me?
That shit.
But when I would ask to die too. Like, I don't want to go home.
How can I go home like this?
Yeah,
you know?
Like Cleon said, man, rather end it here than go home all fucked up.
That's it.
All crazy.
And we see what happens. We saw what happened to Skip. We see what happens to these veterans who are coming back to nothing. Literally nothing. Like, I just gave it all for this country and y'all ain't got nothing for me. Like, that's just mentally the dreams. I couldn't even imagine, man. Like, that's so
shout out nobody to soldiers.
And shout out to all the vets, anybody who's ever been to combat, man. Like, you still see it today, but back then, even more so. Like, my goodness, man. Like, I couldn't even imagine. No therapist. Like, nobody was really talking about that. Like, what are you doing with all these feelings and all these heart? I mean, even the scene, I'm sure we'll talk about it, where, Ant turned around on Juanita. Like, don't ever run up on me. Like, don't walk up on me.
That's
like,
one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, that's from war. Like, you learn how to survive. Anthony had a moment when he told Skip, like, you know how I've been able to survive 26 months in the bush? Because the outside world don't exist to me. The moment I start thinking about that, I'm gonna die. Which ironically, the very next scene we see him writing back home to
Kirby.
Yeah, which I think they have a very unique relationship. I think I think he looks at Kirby even more of a father. Than his own dad. And Kirby, we knew Kirby served. Like, Kirby actually, so he could be comfortable. The first thing he did, man, can I work for you? Like, Kirby, Kirby and the Ant's relationship was very interesting.
And that's even the thing. Like, they had so many opportunities to hone in on something, Mr. Hughes brothers. Y'all had y'all could have honed in. Like, even when they got caught, he tried to save, run. Like, to sacrifice himself for Anthony. Like, there was a relationship, something. They just they didn't do it.
Rolling in, I'll go with one of mine. Kirby as a getaway driver in the beginning.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, and as a getaway driver for Kirby in the beginning. Just the old, it goes back to what we were just talking about. The OG in Kirby. That's how a lot of this stuff, when you're young and you get into that life of crimes, especially in that era, it kind of happens unexpectedly. It's usually somebody trusting. It's rare somebody just wakes up and say, I want to be a gangster. You see it in Goodfellas. It's just the company you're around. I want to be like these people. And he kind of conned them the whole time. Like, you want to drive? Like, where we going? Like I told you, we just going on a little run.
Again, he was very aloof. Like, just green.
He just gave him. Like, he gave him that bread roll. Like, he's like, wherever you want me to go, hell yeah, I'm going.
I'm going.
And Rachel, I had that in my notes too. That scene really showed how young and naive Ant was.
Yeah.
Like, to not know something was going on, and it established that Kirby ain't no joke. He's somebody in that neighborhood. He's gonna go about it, getting it. We saw that a little bit in the pool hall scene with Cowboy first, but also just he pulled the gun out, punched his wife. And I'm sorry, the comedic relief in that scene of him grabbing that leg, like, and him walking around like one of my favorite quotes. Everybody in town know I got one lung, and that motherfucker grabbed the wrong one.
Yeah.
So that's one of my scenes I got down. What you got, School?
Man, the scene where Skip, Joe, and Anthony are just talking. Like, you hear what they're about.
Which scene in the very beginning?
The very beginning.
In the middle.
And they're discussing what they want to do after high school. And Anthony says, I want to do something. I want to go to the military. I want to do something
I ain't afraid of no war.
I want to do something different. And Skip says, getting your head blown off is different. Like,
I'm Skip, bro. I'm with Skip. I got Skip's mindset. Like, bro, I ain't with none of that.
I'm with you on that scene, Stiller, man. Skip did his thing.
Come on, man. I'm a pimp. Pimp and running my family.
Yeah, my great granddaddy was a pimp. He had hoes picking his cotton. He had to do nothing. Hey, man, he was out here wilding, bro.
Out of pocket.
Her mama came in, caught us. She seen him out there. She jumped in the bed too.
Fooling.
Was wilding.
Fooling. But that I'll take that. That leads into some of my other favorite scenes. But they're at the party post graduation, and Joe and Marisol.
Time out, real quick, Rachel. Real quick. I'm sorry. Did anybody? I know we didn't. Did you have a graduation party as lit as that? They was kicking it.
They was kicking it.
No,
big kicking it.
It was big kicking it.
Yeah.
My graduation party was in my backyard.
We was at the park.
We was at the park for mine.
Yeah, we was at the park. What? Like it wasn't none of that. Like shout out to the cinematography in that scene too. But yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. Panning from room to room, I'm like, yo, they kicking it.
They kicking it.
I don't even know if I kicked it like that in college.
Yeah, and back to that cinematography you was talking about. It reminds me of Menace to Society. That scene where Samuel Jackson kills. I don't remember the character, but that whole scene of that red light, that shit just dope.
Yeah, but I cut you off, Rachel. I'm sorry. What else were you gonna say?
No, you're good. That whole Joe was ready to propose and marry Marisol, and I thought it was very interesting. And this is the naivete of young girls and Juanita being so thirsty. Well, I'm not mad, come get your rocks off before you go off to war. But Delilah wanted to fuck that nigga from jump.
Oh yeah, Delilah wanted him. Mm-hmm.
We saw that ASAP.
Yeah.
ASAP. Oh, damn, what was I about to say?
I think that
she still wanted him.
I'm actually surprised.
That's how she ended up in the
I'm surprised that the film didn't dive into that a little bit more like that.
Because what else was the point?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Yeah. I was gonna say she just wanted to marry him. Oh, I'm gonna wait for you. You're gonna miss me. You're gonna do all of this shit. Like, I'm gonna be here waiting for you. But that's because you 17, 18, don't know no better. And now this nigga went off to war and you got this random ass baby.
Yeah.
And that
random ass baby.
And that was really a thing. Like, that's what I had in my notes. That was the time. Like, what? You about to, I'll wait for you. Like, you want to get married? Jose and they're going to the city hall tomorrow to get married. Like,
you want to go?
Like,
no.
Yeah, what? But that was the norm. That was really a thing.
That was the norm. You got to figure the World War II. Their grandmothers, their moms was doing that. That's how their mom's life started, or their grandmother's life started. That's crazy to think about. Like, war was a real thing. Like, it is a real thing. But like the draft, like tomorrow, be in the draft. Like it's over.
I think what made it even crazier for me is that, and y'all tell me what y'all think. I knew that they was fucking around. But I didn't get that they were like together and solid like I did Marisol and Joe. Like,
well, I feel like he made it clear that he didn't want her to wait for him.
Yeah.
Right. So why is you doing all of that?
Exactly. Like, even the way there's a certain respect that men have when it's our nigga's girl. There's certain things you don't say, questions you don't ask. Mm-hmm. That's just a respect thing amongst men. I'm sure women have the same thing. So in the very beginning, going back to your opening scene of Skip asking him, like, I bet you ain't even smelled that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's asking those questions, and you could tell his response was like, and that goes back to him being a little aloof, and I think being shy. But I don't think Skip would have even asked those questions had that been his girl.
If it's your girl like that, exactly.
Yeah, like that's not. Yeah, you don't cross those lines. You don't play those games. So I think it was on somebody. Yo, you hit that yet? Like,
it might also be I feel like they didn't give us their ages. Obviously, they were 18, I guess 19, but man, they were naive. Some of their shit was just a little.
But that's the 6. I mean, it's not like that's kind of the process. That's like what you had to do. So that's another thing that was interesting. Another scene that I had was the ant and cowboy scene in the pool hall, the second one. The one where the revenge, which I believe the Big Payback was playing in the background on it.
Yes, absolutely.
A couple different things, like Terrence Howard, just whatever performance by him. Like,
I like Terrence Howard as a villain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's definitely fit to be the villain, but once again, I just think he could have done more. It's kind of like Jennifer Lewis. Like, if you're going to have Jennifer Lewis in your movie, have Jennifer Lewis in your movie.
Well, what about the father? I didn't understand. Why did they mention him being in the military if they weren't going? Why was she surprised that her son came home and killed people? Like, what did you do over there? Like,
I think that's because of the other brother, Isaiah Washington's character. I think that because she even alluded to it. I know my mother would be proud. I'm gonna have 2 college graduates. I don't think that was ever. I think she was surprised at that moment that he wanted to go to the Marines.
Right.
Absolutely, but I mean, like, why? What was she? If the father, her husband, had been in the Marines, he was a Marine Corps.
But he probably didn't explain nothing like that to her. This was 1960s. Like
you know how your black mama is.
Yeah, like they asked questions. Like, listen, I don't want to talk about that. It's kind of how it was. So she didn't know. That's her baby. That's her son. Like she wants to know. She feels entitled to that, and she didn't realize that's not her baby no more. Like the int she sent off to war is not the int that came back home.
Right.
I could totally see my mama being the same way. Are you on drugs? Are you what you did? What you on? What you on? I could totally see her being like,
yeah, because who you in my house? Like, who is this in my house?
Who is this in my house? Do I need to lock shit up? I need to lock my bedroom door at night. What's going on?
Yeah, he was eating them greens like he was fiending too. Them greens must have been busting.
Baby.
And I just love the one of my favorite quotes in the film is when he was talking about Juanita. And all you got is, you ain't come back to shit. You got fine ass Juanita. And then he gave him that look. It's like, whoa, don't be looking at him like that, man. I'm just complimenting you on your taste.
Yeah.
That's just a slick way to, get at somebody, girl. Just complimenting you on your taste. Yeah. And he got his ass whipped, of course. And I love another scene, another quote in that scene is when old boy was about to break it up. And Kirby was like, hold on, no. He needs his ass whipped. Yeah. And I think that's just a common rule. I know it made me think of certain discussions that we've all had about, physical violence. No, we don't advocate it, but sometimes people just need their ass whooped. And it's as simple as that. Like, we gonna break it up. We ain't gonna let it get too far, but he needed ass whooping right now. He gonna get it. Like, he deserves that. So that's one of mine. What do you have next?
When Anthony first comes home and he goes to the pool hall to see Kirby, and Kirby's in the middle of telling a story. And he says, hold on, I gotta find this shit, man.
That's one of my favorite things. Like
walking into made me even have it on here.
I love when films start a joke and we don't get the beginning of it and they just walk into it. While he's looking for that, do you have anything that's not Cuddy related? I want to say Cuddy. Do you have anything not Cuddy related?
No.
Okay.
Kirby was like, when she pulled off them drawers, I thought I'd never stop seeing ass. And then he looked up, who is that? Yeah, look, oh man. So that shit's silly.
Did you have anything, Rachel?
I was just gonna say when Aunt got home and when he finally got to Juanita's house, or to her mother's house, and seeing Delilah, why is you kissing this nigga in the mouth? And then when he finally got to see Sarah, that's so you've shut her out of your mind for so long. And so to see him just sort of have that aha moment, like that realization, like, oh damn, I really do got a daughter out here. And then I just wondered, was Juanita letting his mama and daddy see her? Like, I wonder what all happened in that life. You know what I'm saying? Like, were they helpful? Have they been around? Or you just taking money from Cuddy?
That's a good question. I didn't even think about that, but that is because we never get to see them talk about Sarah.
Yeah, they don't say shit about that little girl. At the dinner table, that would have been prime. Well, have you been around to see Juanita and Sarah yet? That's the conversation to be having.
Yeah, man. Damn. Man, Wright brothers. Or Hughes brothers, excuse me. I'm talking about planes and shit. You got any other scenes besides Cuddy that are non-Cuddy related?
Nah.
All right, so y'all ready to have the Cuddy conversation?
Yes.
Hold on. Can we get into Cleon when he was telling? Because first off, Cleon post-war was hilarious to me. He had on them fucking glasses.
That hair?
That hair in that pulpit. His crazy ass becoming a preacher, even though his father was one, but that was so on brand. These preacher niggas is nuts.
we saw that in the 5 Heartbeats when Choir Boy went to do his thing and ended up they called me rock, and then years later we see him in the church, running the music. So that is on point.
There's nothing like that success story that coming from the dirt to the clean. That's just God's work, His miracles. That's what I am. That's just play.
So let me ask y'all this about Cleon. Were either one of you, for everybody to be as messed up as they were from that war, did it surprise anybody that he seemed like he was the most steady? Like, for as crazy as he was. Listen,
I'm glad you brought that up. I read where the Hughes brothers, or maybe who wrote this, I can't remember, but they specifically said Cleon cutting that head off was a sign of mental health. Like, he was supposed to be crazy. Mm-hmm. And then they switched it up on him and he's just like sane. Like, he felt pretty normal to me. Like, for them to be as hard as they was, he cut niggas' heads off.
Yeah, that's just insane. Carrying it around.
And it was carrying it around. He didn't mind it. Like, come on, bro, you crazy.
Here's my thing also about Cleon. Because he was black, he obviously could not be I don't know the rank, but he was a staff sergeant. So whatever Dugan was ahead of him. But he and Cleon, they had said they had been together for all of these tours. They have been each other's road dogs. So you would think that the way progression works, that he would also have that same rank. Mm-hmm. And racism. Mm-hmm. He didn't. But he had the sound mind. Yeah. They survived up to that point really because of Cleon's decision making. They found him trophies and whatnot because of Cleon's mind, not Dugan's. So for him to make the 180 and be the snitch was crazy to me.
Yeah. As soon as they handed that cigarette over and gave it that look and just snatched it, I'm like, oh, Cleon.
That's it. We know that look.
Yeah, damn, bro. And my thing is, like, what are you getting yourself out of? Like, there's nothing that they offering you that's going, bro. Y'all murked
4 people.
Yeah, like,
because you still went to jail.
Yeah, so like, was it worth it? I guess is it a principle of if I'm going, everybody go? I don't know.
Well, he was
they told them
he was acting holier than thou after. Remember at the scene, him and Skip was getting into, you killed that officer, man, and all that shit. And I don't know if it was the military aspect that the cop seemed like he used to be in the military.
He was also a Marine.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's what it was, but he was on his ass. Like, he was acting brand new. And I was shocked that Skip punched him and Cleon didn't do shit. Huh? Well, come on, man.
I'm shocked that Ant even invited Cleon. Like, I wouldn't want.
I'm not.
I was shocked that Ant invited Skip. Even though Skip was his nigga, Skip is a crackhead.
Yeah. Skip is a crackhead. And Jose, him and Jose, the whole heist was. Let's talk about the heist real quick.
It was not well thought out. Nah. And they said that we did all this shit wrong. Yes.
Everything. It might be the worst heist in movie history. Like, everything was awful. Like, from your personnel.
Yeah.
Even the hiding spot.
Your hiding spots, like, you in the dumpster, my nigga. Like what? Like, as soon as, like, when they went around in that scene where they went around everybody's positions, and she's like, "You gonna be across in the dumpster?" I was like, "Hold up, like, what?"
Yeah.
Oh man, we might as well put an ad out for this shit.
That was right.
And it seemed a little bit dramatic to just go straight to a bank robbery. Like,
y'all ain't getting no practice runs.
Yeah, like, I get it. Like, I know things are hard, but straight to a bank robbery, you don't want to start with a liquor store. You don't want to start with nothing else first. Like, you want to go straight to bank robberies. Or I guess it wasn't a bank robbery, the truck robbery.
I hate to sound repetitive, but this movie was all over the place. And one of those things was even the situation with him and his girl, Juanita. They never really showed us him struggling. Like, he was going to work. We saw him making money. Like,
I'm like, God damn, the butcher don't pay nothing.
Exactly.
When I got here, you taking money from Cuddy, but you got roaches, bitch.
Right.
So, that's why the nigga was ready to go when he seen that.
Hey man, I'm about to get up out of here. Yeah.
He was gonna let the Cuddy shit slide. Yeah, I got an attitude and an ego. He seen that roach. He was trying to get up out of there.
I know there is somewhere in this city that I can lay my head. Somewhere in this borough.
I can go to fun home, nigga. To my mama house.
Y'all fooling, but look, that's real. And I want to ask y'all this: did y'all feel like this movie? It didn't feel New Yorkish. Like, I don't feel like that was Harlem. Like, every time they say this is the Bronx or Harlem, wherever, I'll be like, oh shit. I always feel like it was Chicago or something. I don't know.
It didn't feel the city definitely wasn't a character.
New York has
it was not.
Feel, bro.
Or it could be New York. Yeah.
It definitely wasn't a character. I know it was late 60s, but it still wasn't that. So
go back to Cudi.
Yeah, let's have this Cudi conversation, because I'm glad you asked that question. You asked what was your question exactly? About Cudi, was he in the wrong or was he in the right?
Would you respect Cudi? If you're Anthony, not even the respect part, would you respect Cudi enough to even have that conversation? Like, bro, look, I respect you. I understand what you've done for the past 4 years. Because you got to figure, Anthony didn't even write her back. She sent him the picture of Sarah. Like, he didn't communicate. That's how he said he survived. So whatever, shout out to that. But how you gonna get mad when you come in and she did have a nigga?
Rachel?
I'm not a ride or die anymore in my life. So, would I respect as a man? I mean, I don't have a dick, so my ego is not like that. But just on some G shit, no, because you're trying to little bro me, nigga. No.
So
thank you for taking care of my daughter. You wasn't taking care of her for free. You was fucking the mama. Like, you wasn't doing that shit out the kindness. What kind of nigga you fuck with and not gonna slide your daughter or something? If I'm fucking with you that tough.
So this is the complexity of it. Rachel, you just hit the nail on the head. You were presenting this to me like you did it for me.
Yeah.
Come on.
And that's not the case at all.
Yep.
But on the flip side, there is a little bit of, first of all, if you're gonna come with it, come with everything. Like, you're not doing this on some I know you was I just, don't you think I should get some respect for that? I took care of your woman and your girl. Like, nigga, you was also fucking my woman.
Yeah, like, you was taking care of her, all right.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's keep it all the way a buck. Like, when we first see Cudi has 2 scenes in this film. Both are incredible. The first one, he pulls up while they kissing. All right. Obviously, Ant has no idea who this dude is.
Hey.
He come up with the lollipop on some what was that cop show that he used to do the lollipop? I can't remember. It don't matter. Either way, he came up with the lollipop. Every single time Juanita was about to introduce who this was, he cut her off, handed her $200
for his daughter.
Yeah, in the 60s.
For my daughter.
For his daughter.
I see you got my baby girl back there.
Yeah, my baby girl.
Oh,
back
okay.
There.
All right.
I'll shoot you.
And then after that conversation, you're gonna spoil them. Actually, Cudi, this is pull it off on him, right? So ASAP, that's already disrespectful. All right, I just got home, and I might not be able to question you at this moment because, once again, I told your ass not to even wait for me. So who am I? Who am I to step up to you and get mad because you really you didn't wait as I asked you? On the flip side, man, that's my daughter. That's my girl. Like, you come, I'm bringing groceries, that I didn't buy. I just got fired, and this is my going away thing. So it's even more of an ego shot that this man is taking care of my family. And you come up to me pretty much on some, like, I ain't gonna lie, I care about her a lot. But I respect the fact that he kind of told her, like, look, you back and I'm gone. Like, I don't believe him. But he at least said, you back and I'm gone. Consider me a friend of the family if you need anything. But he knew what he was doing. He knew that Ant was never going to come to him about anything, just from a pride standpoint. And I love the fact that he brought that into the conversation. Cudi brought pride into it. I know all about pride, but you got mouths to feed.
Yep.
Like, so what you going to do?
I believe Cudi, bro.
So I think Cudi, if you ever in that position, you always gonna get a chance to little bro. Like, I'm gonna little bro you as long as I can until you get upset with it. And if you want to take it there, we can take it there. And you see what happened when he took it there.
Yep.
Like, Cudi wasn't to be played with.
Don't ever bite the hands that feed you.
And he was a man of principle. Like, you lucky this is personal. Like, you lucky this is personal. I'm not gonna kill you over no woman. Like, but straight up, bro, don't ever bite the hand that feeds you.
Caught that nigga Santa Claus.
Yeah, call him Santa Claus, all type of shit, man. Cudi should have. That's kind of in my things that bother me category. Like, Cudi should have been dealt with a little bit more. I'm upset they didn't revisit that. I don't know how much there is to revisit, because apparently they broke up. We learned that in the conversation that he had with Delilah in that bar, that he broke up with Juanita. But
and really, that was it. Like, there was no more trace of Delilah again.
Cudi was out of pocket.
Not Delilah, excuse me.
But Cudi really did take care. He held it down, and he was like, "Look,
And see, here's my thing, and that's what made me even ask the question about the respect thing. Is like, besides the gun part, Cuddy did not handle this. It could have went better, I'm guessing, but at some point, if you Anthony, I guess you do put your pride aside.
You got to take it, bro. Because you ain't doing nothing. Everything he's saying is right.
He's definitely right.
You're not bringing nothing home like groceries. I used to, when I was married, I used to love bringing home groceries. Like, come on, man. I really need to whip your ass, but at the same time, I just got fired, and you the one bringing money to my family, and that makes me feel away, and I don't know what to do at that point.
And they didn't do a good enough job of Anthony being a Marine nigga. Like, he should have held his own with Cuddy. Like, I felt like Cuddy was the Marine. Like,
it was the way he snuck him.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want no problem.
That's the only thing that gave it. I think that's what gave Cuddy the advantage, because I think that had Anthony been on his square,
he would have been.
It might have went different.
He knocked him all the way down the steps.
Yeah.
Here's my question, and here's my thing. How well was Cuddy taking care of Juanita? $200 here and there. I come get fucked on, get sucked on. I
talk about that part, you know boy. You talking about she wasn't sucking it like that for your left, was she?
She is in a roach infested apartment. She still ain't had no food and no shit in there when he got there. How long you been around? Yeah, you can slide me $200 real quick, but he ain't got her put up. He ain't got her in no shit.
Listen.
So you making yourself seem like big dog to shit on my nigga. Like, okay, yeah, you do got some bread. I appreciate the help. Thank you. But you wasn't doing it like that, nigga.
Juanita might have been prideful though herself.
No, she wasn't.
Nah, she wasn't prideful.
Prideful herself.
Nah, Juanita wasn't prideful, because Juanita had no problem telling that man, I'm fucking him, and looked him up and down.
She didn't mean that.
Yes,
man.
she did. Yes, she did, man. Cuddy probably just busting that when he was leaving the apartment.
Come on.
So the baby went Anthony?
Her. She's a prostitute.
So the baby went Anthony?
I ain't think so.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. But yeah, now after I think about it with the whole she wasn't sucking you like that before you left. Yeah, I gotta see Cuddy, man. Nah.
Come on.
I'm about to do that. It's a very thin line, but either you gonna hustle and get
but
on
he
your
didn't
job.
Say that until shit went to left. Nigga, that he was getting. We don't have to. And don't have to say that. I already know.
That's the thing. As men, we all like. It's never. It's like you don't bring it up. It's never gonna end well if you ever bring that up. So Ant knew, but at the same time he didn't want to say nothing, and now he finally brought it up, and then he got his feelings hurt. It's the same. That was the 1973 version of going through a phone.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, just don't do it, bro. So it's kind of like this unknown. Like, I know this nigga used to be hitting my girl, but that's the past. I'm gonna try to let it slide. Like, I'm trying to get back in my feet, reestablish in society. But Cuddy was just way too comfortable and way too like, yeah, nigga. Yeah, I knew that little thing she do. I taught her that. Yeah, I hope you enjoying it. Yeah, I'm like, nah.
But that was after, right?
I don't care, bro. I don't care, bro. There's a respect that you have, and he didn't respect Ant. He didn't respect him. Like, I took care of your family, your daughter.
Oh, I ain't going to that. That's just silly.
Anyway, man. Yeah, man. I'm fucked. Yeah. Anyway, any other scenes that anybody want to discuss?
I'm good.
I'm not good, bro.
Nah.
Court, he threw that motherfucking chair at Martin Sheen.
Yeah, and I guess was that supposed to be the theme of the movie, or the moral? Like, all this I did for the country, and I got life. Like, I don't know. That's the ending.
I think that became the moral. Like, I think that's the only one that you can.
But we knew that before. I just hate the ending. I hate the end of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
That black man has no position in the white man's army.
Yeah.
Okay, we've been hearing that our whole lives.
Best quotes. I've pretty much said mine. I'm just gonna lead with the one that I have, and or two of them, should I say? And then y'all can fill in the rest. One was Skip at the party, and Anyway, Skip Brendan looking for you. I don't give a fuck till I am where I'm at. What do you say? I'm at where I'm at, and I'm gonna be where I'll be.
Yep, I wrote that down.
And then, of course, you talked about it earlier, the scene where he punched Cleon. Like, no preacher, fake preacher, no members having motherfuckers. Hey, shout out to Pierre, man. Shout out to my boy Pierre, because that was our favorite quote, man. I remember us watching this movie together and getting weak at that scene. But yeah.
Roommate?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely, man. Shout out to P. But yeah, that no fake preacher, no member having, like, especially to somebody like, you say that to somebody in the church, man, they gonna get hurt. Like, no member, damn. Yeah, they're gonna be hurt, man. What you guys' favorite quotes?
That random Kirby had a little bit of all my favorite quotes. When he said, I call this bitch whatever I want to call her. Like,
talking about his car?
Yeah, talking about his car. I already said get your head blown off is different. No bad habits, except a little killing. That was just super powerful, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, just the way he delivered that, the way he was eating them fucking greens. Ted like tried to smooth shit over for him and just look, he's home, baby. Yeah. Like, and like you said, Black Mamas, that wasn't good enough. Mm-hmm. After that scene, if that shit was real, she still hogged him down.
Yeah.
Tell me something.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray, what you got? Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah.
You good?
I was born by the pussy. I'll die by the pussy. That was funny. That was Kirby. I already said I'm a pimp and running my family.
Mm-hmm.
This was a Kirby line. You got more heart than your stupid asshole man at the beginning when he was
when he punched
he knocked out the wife.
Yep.
And then
he punched too. Yeah, sheesh.
Yeah, like, why did he sock her like that?
Bruh, like a nigga.
And then, boy, I'll kick your head in. Don't talk like that. Like, I don't know. Threats of violence are always funny to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I really had.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's all I had for quotes. Scene stealer, you guys both said Chris Tucker. Yeah. I'm gonna agree with you. I just want to, I know we talked about it. I gotta give a shout out to Keith David. Like, his performance was so solid throughout this film. Absolutely. Like, it's one of my favorite Keith David performances.
Yep.
He kind of felt like the glue, and he did not miss on any scene that he was in.
Mm-hmm.
Things that bother you, I've already said mine. The heist was terrible. And the fact that it just seemed a little bit dramatic for your first step to be robbing that truck. Like, just start a little bit smaller, maybe.
Yeah.
Rob a card game or something like they did in the 70s. Something, man. I don't know. Man. Rob the number spot. Like, don't just go straight to the stuff that's gonna get you federal time. Yeah. But whatever. What you got?
I'm with you. The heist, man. It just wasn't it. Like. And they didn't do enough of the struggles for me. Like, I want to know why they're robbing his truck. Like, he did get fired, but that's about it. Skip ain't had no drugs. Y'all gonna rob a truck for that? Like, I ain't with it.
Yeah. Well, mine is just a little bit pettier. Why was Keith David teeth so yellow?
I'm done.
I was wondering if they did that on purpose.
Yeah, they did that on purpose, man. Get out of here. Man.
I don't know if they did or not, but I thought the same thing you did, right?
Do you know the history of dentistry back then? Them niggas had to go to the vets. They had to go to veterinarians back in the 60s and 70s.
Not in the 60s and 70s.
They really
in the 40s, 50s, maybe early 60s. 68, 73.
But you got to figure he's 50. He already, his shit done. He's done.
Very noticeable.
It was irksome to me.
Very noticeable.
I'm like,
very noticeable.
Yeah, you ain't got no fluoride. What's going on? That was it. And how bad Delilah really wanted to fuck with Anthony. Like, girl, put that hot box down.
That's another thing. Why y'all play so hard on that and did nothing with it?
They did something.
Well, they felt like they did do something because she got into the robbery, which didn't make sense. Like, you on this militant shit, but what do you need to rob for? I thought y'all was on the up and up.
Yeah, you in college. She just said she's in college. Like, that was weird that she would even do that. I don't want none of them revolutionary niggas involved. Matter of fact, I ain't even sold on her. Like,
right?
Hey, shout out to Keith David.
Funny.
Any actors from The Wire? No. Nope. Quick shout out to the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say that. So good. That's my era of music.
And a big shout out to the songs that were made after being sampled from this damn.
There's so many hits that were made in the 90s and 2000s from the samples of those songs. Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely. Like, it was big time. I remember, matter of fact, I didn't the Chicken and Beer intro from Ludacris's album. Like, I didn't, like, I immediately was like, oh snap, Dead Presidents.
Yep.
The whole nine. Wouldn't let that happen to me.
Cudi.
I'm gonna put the Cudi situation in there, man. Like, you can't help anything. You can't help the stuff that happened while you were going, but I can't let Cudi just be, and I can't let you knock me down the steps and put a gun in my mouth or try to put the gun in my mouth. Like, nah, bro. Like, suck it, nigga. Like, come on, bro. I'm running down on Cudi as soon as I get a chance. If I'm going to jail, I'm not going to jail for the heist. I'm going to jail for rocking.
And they got his nails done too. Yeah, man. I ain't going.
Yeah, a nigga out here eating blow pops. And, come on, man, chill. I ain't going for it. Anything.
They say he was moving Nicky Barnes, man.
Anyway, you got anything that for that category you wouldn't let happen to you?
I would say that's about it,
man. Yeah, I don't know.
Can I give a quick shout out though, real quick?
Yeah.
For those of you watching and listening, this category wouldn't let that happen to me. It came from the Boondocks.
Yes.
Season 2, Tom, Sarah, Usher. Wouldn't let that shit happen to me though, and I just wanted to shout it out because we really got a real life reenactment of that scene with Issa Rae and Usher at the concert this past weekend.
Hey,
if you've seen that clip, that was pretty much like the episode. So I just wanted
that should be a warm up for when you get home.
Listen, man.
Home with Usher.
Hey man, listen.
Now I'm hot and ready. Now I feel good. I'm geeked. I'm cheesing.
Forgot
out for the night of my life. We out of here.
Yeah, I ain't even gonna touch on it no more. But I saw it and I just got weak.
I was about to say something.
I was about to say something ill. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna leave it alone, man, because I love Issa and I love Usher. Straight up. Woo! Shout out to Issa's husband, man.
You better man.
Hope you're doing all right.
Trivia. Her fuck niggas.
Hey, trivia, man. Trivia.
Supposed to be moved by this serenade.
The role of Delilah was offered to Jada Pinkett, but she declined because
why she declined?
You know why she declined, right? Why she declined?
Set it off.
Nope, because she ride with Tupac. She ride with Tupac. Oh, y'all got beef with Pac? I can't do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it. So yeah, if people don't know that story, which I don't know where you've been, but maybe some of our younger listeners, infamously. Tupac caught a charge for an assault on the Hughes brothers on the set of Menace to Society. So she was out for the role, but she said, nah, I'm cool with Pac. I can't do it. And just real quick, 5 actors from the Hughes brothers' first film, Menace to Society, were in this film. Lorenz Tate, Clifton Powell, James Pickens Jr., Ryan Williams, and Clifton Collins Jr. So I always like when directors get their little crew.
Yeah, and shout out to, if you've seen Menace to Society, and you've seen this, and just the difference in Lorenz Tate and that character. Like, Lorenz Tate was just in his bag.
His range is crazy.
It really is.
Menace to Society, Inkwell, Dead Presidents, Love Jones. Like, his range is ridiculous.
Even Rashawn Tate right now, like that Rashad Tate, that character, like gritty New York, sneaky governor ass nigga. Like, that's just he different.
Yeah. Shout out to Lorenz.
Lorenz is him.
Yeah, without question. Any tribute? Either one of y'all got anything?
No.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna end this and wrap it up. We always end with the same thing: too high, too low, or just right. So the average viewer rates this movie 6.9 out of 10. Too high, too low, just right. Rachel, we'll start with you.
I give it a skosh high. I'm gonna give it an even 6.
Okay. What about you? What you got?
That's a little too high. I'm gonna go 6 as well.
I'm willing to go 6.5. I'm willing to go 6.5. Okay. I understand why people who love this film, like Mario said, this was his favorite Chris Tucker performance, which is, whatever. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But that's a Mario thing to say. That's a very Mario thing to say. I don't know how you picked that over Friday, Rush Hour, whatever the case is, but he did do his thing in this film. It's just
he did his thing.
Overall, I just I don't want to shit on it because it had its moments. It could have been so much more.
Yeah,
that's my biggest gripe with the film. So that's why 6.9 is real. I was actually surprised. Like, damn, this is close to a 7.
Yeah,
Like, we reaching Queen and Slim territory, man. That's a classic right there.
Worst movie ever.
But nah, I say 6.5 is fair for it, and I'm glad that I was able to rewatch it. I'm glad that we were able to have the conversation. I have no idea when the next time I watch Dead Presidents will be. Like, honestly, I don't know when it'll be. It's gonna be some years again. Yeah. And no diss to the movie. It's just
I'll watch a couple scenes.
Yeah, I'll watch a couple scenes here and there. But
for what?
So yeah. Nah, listen, I get it, man. That's what we're here for, to have these real conversations. We can't sugarcoat it. So I think that's it. Anybody else got anything they got to say about Dead Presidents?
I don't. If it's on, maybe I'll stay tuned for a hot second. But
part of the movie.
All the actors did really, really, really well. Like, everybody held their own, and that's really why I give it what I did, because everybody was putting on the clinic. Like, nobody was slouching in their role.
No.
So
acting was not the issue. It was just the direction of the film and where it went. It progressively got worse as the film went on.
Yep.
And we just got to keep it real about that. So it is what it is. But shout out to the Hughes brothers. Shout out to all the actors in this film. Like I said, the actors held it down. And
if you want to see a good Hughes brothers movie, put on Menace to Society.
Man. Yeah, just put on
Menace to Society. Got the same people in it, and they good acting there too. So. Yeah.
With that being said, I think that's going to wrap up this week's episode. As always,
welcome back, Ray P.
As always, we appreciate y'all checking us out, listening, watching. Please remember to subscribe, share, comment. Don't forget about our Black Panther giveaway. Get those reviews in. We're not asking for like 5s and nothing like that. Literally, just give us whatever you think like, about
review if you feel we shitty.
Yeah, whatever you think about the show, suggestions, whatever the case is. But yeah, we just want to interact, and we always want to get better. So whatever y'all got for us, we'll be happy to take it. Next week is episode 25, which we've done more episodes than 25, but as far as films and real like core Culture Garden stuff, episode 25 is next week. So we got a very big one for y'all. One that I'm excited to talk about. Ooh. I don't know how long that podcast is going to be, but definitely a favorite of mine. So with all being said, Ray P, welcome back.
Thank you.
Appreciate all y'all for checking us out as always. Y'all be cool. How y'all be cool.
Yeah. Out.